Greetings, this is a Timeshare Traveler. Today is episode 161. How to choose which timeshare in Lake Tahoe that is right for you. So I'll break this down into both. If you own multiple, I have Marriott, Hilton, and Worldmark, I'll do both a combined comparison, but also if you just own one of the three, you can do a comparison. I've broken it down in two different ways. So I'll go through the resorts, then the notes for resorts, just sort of what I'm measuring, and then a summary chart for all of the resorts. Then I'll break it down sort of a Hilton, within Hilton, and then within Marriott, and then within Worldmark. That way, if you own just one of the three or two of the three, you can kind of look at how it plays out. But before I do that, I'll tell you a little bit about my channel, and then I'm going to come back and go through a lot of detail. Hi, this is Cliff, and I'm the Timeshare Traveler. Welcome to my channel. The purpose of my channel is to educate those who love traveling in timeshares. I've been an owner for 15 plus years at timeshare ownership. I have elite ownership with Marriott, Hilton, and Worldmark. I have published over 100 timeshare video reviews, and I've published over 95 timeshare tips. I can be found on Facebook at Timeshare Trav, at Twitter, Timeshare Trav, and on the web at www.timesharetraveler.com. Okay, here's a map with all the arrows. So I broke the Worldmark. You can see the green arrows, and the Marriott's the red arrows, and then the Hilton is the black arrows. So you can sort of see that the Hiltons have one by the water and one up in the slopes, and same with Worldmark and Marriott. They're both kind of down in the village, right close to the casinos and so forth, and right by the ski lift that actually goes up. So right at the base of the ski lift. So there's the map, so you can sort of get a sense where they are. And again, if you own one or three, you can kind of get a sense of what your choices are. And here's my notes now, just going through everything. So when I come up with a cost, it's basically my maintenance fees, the points, kind of how much that really turns into as far as maintenance fees to use that. The room size and points, swimming pools, close to lake and casinos, availability, and then kind of other amenities. So the biggest room with both the Marriotts are about 100 square feet bigger than two-bedroom than both the Worldmark. I think Hilton and then Worldmark is the smallest. Lowest cost is the Worldmark Lake Tahoe, and particularly off peak season, but even peak season, both the Worldmark and the Club Wyndham are the least expensive. Closest to casinos, that's the Marriott locations. The Hilton's kind of close, but it's more of a drive. You can literally walk from the Marriotts, which makes them great. And you'll see the cost. They're also the most expensive, so it's sort of directly related to that. Availability, I've been able to get the Marriott Timber Lodge literally weeks before, so it's not necessarily a whole week, but I've been able to get some days. And other amenities, I put the Marriotts really there just because they're so close to the village and all the restaurants and everything. So I kind of, on an other amenities basis, I sort of gave them the nod for that. Okay, now we're going to go through the eye chart. And what I would suggest you do is, I'll just give you a few points here, but what I suggest you just pause this, sort of zoom in however you need to while watching the video, and just take a look at them. But you can see from a cost basis, it's really the Wyndham Worldmarks that are $700 for a week. All these prices are a week, and the off-peak is $360. It's amazing if you pick the off-peak seasons. The Marriotts can be super huge, expensive, and that's driven by the Christmas week, the New Year's Eve week. That's the most expensive week by far. But yet, down at the less expensive, if you're willing to go off peak, and there's some great times in Tahoe when it's maybe it's not quite ski season, but not quite summer. So that's very valuable. And then Hilton's kind of interesting. They've got, to me, it's a good blend. They've got some not quite as inexpensive as Worldmark, but their quality is a little bit better, particularly the Hilton Grand Vacation Club at Lake Tahoe. The other thing I would say is they all kind of have some pools. The Marriotts are probably a little better pools, but fundamentally, since it's a snow season, the pool's not that important. But there was like 6 hot tubs at one of the Marriotts, so there's a lot of opportunity even in the winter. But I'm pretty cold going out in the snow to get to them. So again, just take a look at this and zoom in and stop. I won't go into more detail, but it's kind of an interesting way to compare the prices for various things. So now I'm going to do summary by brand, and this is sort of if you have one of the three, I've broken it down by brand. So if you have Hilton, the Hilton Vacation Club, in my opinion, has the full kitchens and it's close to casinos and the lake. So to me, that's my favorite. But that's because I like being close to the casinos and close to the lake. The Tahoe Seasons, which is also by Hilton, it's more of a hotel. So I was able to get takeout food. They have a restaurant. And if you bring and there is a space for you if you bring a cooking unit, but there's really no kitchens. So it felt more like a hotel. So that for me, for a person that likes timeshares, I'm much more comfortable with the Hilton Club. On the Marriott side, it's kind of a toss-up. It's a little more expensive at the Grand Residence. It's the off-peak, but fundamentally it's the same price, and they're right next to each other, and they're right next to the ski slope. So to me, it was not memorable difference one way or the other. So it's just they're both kind of one right next to each other which depends on which side of the ski slope you want to be on, and maybe a little bit shorter walk to the casinos, but they're both very close. And then on the Worldmark Club Wyndham, I was impressed with the value. I mean, the prices are great, and I don't mind the 2 mile drive to the casinos. They're on the Nevada side, both of them, so that's what's different about the Worldmark on Wyndham. And I love the South Shore is 2 miles away, so it's close. And I loved the Lake Tahoe one because it was up in the mountains, and you had this beautiful view high above the lake where you could see down into the lake. So maybe they're not quite as fancy as the Hilton or the Marriott, but I really liked both of them. So I liked all. I just didn't like the Tahoe Seasons because it didn't have kitchens. Now let me go and give you an overall summary for all of them. So now looking across all of them, I kind of view the Hiltons as kind of like the midpoint price-wise, and they're not quite exactly as close to the casinos, but you do get close to the ski loft if you do the Tahoe season. If you're just there for skiing, you're right close to the parking lot for the place. The Marriotts, they're expensive during the peak seasons, but you're right at the ski lift, and you can just go right up the hill, the gondola is right there. You literally you just fall out of the rooms and you're basically there. So that's the Marriott, and that's what they have. It's got, again, it's higher fees, but during the peak season, but they have even the off-peak season, but there's no skiing then, but you can stay there, and they were relatively available, at least during the summer months when I was there. And then the Worldmark Club Wyndham, to me, they're the value solution as far as being able to be in Tahoe and enjoy the place and pay the least amount of money in maintenance fees. So that's kind of the way I see them. Hilton's kind of a little bit of closeness and a little bit more expensive. Marriott's much more expensive but really close, and then Worldmark is the best, to me, the values solution. Okay, now I'm going to go through very short videos just on each one of them. The Hilton Vacation Club at Lake Tahoe, the square footage, you can see the one bedroom's pretty good size, 764, and the two bedrooms a little smaller than some. But again, the price points first and then the dollars. So it's 10,000 points or $1,400 to $5,500 or $770 for the one bedroom. And again, you can read that. There's one pool area. It's a nice size, has jacuzzis, close to the lake and casinos, but it's a drive or a long walk in the summer. I wouldn't walk it in the winter. It'd be pretty cold, I would imagine. Availability is not very good because, particularly if you're a HGV Max owner, if you happen to be a Diamond, the availability is much better. That's actually how I ended up booking it. It's food's available, fairly close to town, 710s, maybe it's a little more, a little less, something like that. Good fitness center, some grills, and parking is free. Okay, Tahoe Season Resorts. It's interesting. The costs are a little bit less than the Hilton Vacation Club, but the square feet is a little bit bigger on the one bedroom. 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms. So anyway, it's a little bit bigger, but there's no kitchens. I stayed in a one bedroom, and I have reviews for everything in the description. So it's got one pool. It's it's pretty much a drive down the hill to get close to the lake or the casinos. Probably not walking distance. Um, I was able to get it, but again, I think it's very difficult to get if you're on the Hilton Grand Vacations Max side. If you're on the Diamond side, it's much more available. Um, and the food is available at the location, but it's more of a takeout place. But you have to come down the hill for all the restaurants and everything like that. Minimal fitness center, and I don't remember. I think it's a small grill area, just very few, and the parking was free. Okay, Marriott Timber Lodge. Again, it can be very expensive during the New Year's Eve week, and then it's still relatively expensive even off peak. But they have good size rooms. That's what I liked about it. And I had one giant pool area, so I would say they have the best pools, multiple hot tubs. It's close to the lakes, just walking distance, and food available. And you do have to do paid parking. There is to do that. Although I was able to get it one time without paying for parking, but that was when I actually used Bonvoy points to book at that time. And as a repeat, the Marriott Grand Residence is kind of similar to me, the Timber Lodge. It was kind of, if you like one, you like them both. And they're just kind of next to each other. So again, it's one pool, near bars and restaurants, close to the lake. And so that was really nice. Availability, I did not have trouble getting it. But I was booking during summer, so I don't know how that works in ski season, but it seemed relatively available. Good fitness center, just a few grills, and parking was paid. And the Worldmark South Shore, again, it was the lowest points for a one bedroom. So the South Shore is a couple miles. It was, again, the one bedroom, and the costs are really, really affordable. So I has one pool. It's, about a half mile from the lake and 2 miles from the casinos. Availability, the book is difficult unless you book in advance. I was able to get it relatively short time, but that was just me checking till I found a weekend, and I think somebody had canceled, so I was able to jump in and get it. So I just did it within a 30-day window, and I was able to get it. Okay, fitness center, food available, outside timeshare, some girls, and free parking. Last but not least, the Worldmark Lake Tahoe. I thought I actually liked this. I liked kind of, it was up and away from everything, and it was kind of more breezy, sort of got the mountain breezes in the trees, and you had a view of the lake, kind of, you could look down at it. So I kind of like that. The points are the same as the Club Wyndham South Shore. A little more availability was my sense, slightly more units as well. So one pool, I had to drive down the hill to get to the casinos or to the lake. It was more available if you booked well in advance. Food's available outside, an okay fitness center, some grills, and again, free parking for that.